Okay, so guys and girls, I hope you should get ready. So we will begin our lecture here now. Okay, so first of all, I will start with the questions on finance. Refer to section 8, question number 2. Okay. So according to these questions here, what I suppose to have is that, like the questions that stated, and by the way, I have made some correction on these questions here. So please refer to the part that is typing in blue here, where I add in this sentence here that I want to find the value of D first, and then hence only find the interest that is equivalent with the discount rate. I want to add in this statement here. So please refer. The correction only happened in my lecture here. I'm not sure the rest of the lecture, do they make the same correction or not, or they just get it. Okay. So the reason why I want to make these corrections here is because actually these questions here, if let's say without these corrections, I can actually get the answer for the simple interest rate directly without finding the D value at all. And the calculation is so short and is not entitled for the mark allocated here. So that's why I want to do additions on the questions so that the marks is valid for this particular parts. So this is the reason why I want to do so. Okay, so let's see. Let us try to understand what is happening in the questions here. So first of all, you were told that John borrowed RM 10,000 for 5 years. So according to timeline 2, you can see that he happens to borrow a loan of 10,000. And then this is for 5 years, where if borrow the money now, you need to repay back in 5 years times 5 years later. And the duration taken here is 5 years, T equals to 5. And you were told that from a bank that charge a bank discount rate, whenever you see bank discount rate here, you need to be extremely alert, because bank discount, it tells us one very important information. The amount that loan you ask for and the actual amount of money that you get is two different things. Like in this case here, John borrowed 10,000 by discount rate, but the amount of money reached his hand is not 10,000. It should be less than that. Unless it's very clear to say that the proceed is 10,000 or he received 10,000. If not, this value here is not the actual amount that he received. It's just the amount he asked for. The actual amount he received will be less than that. And how much is the discount rate? I have no idea. The question just write as D. Again, there's corrections I want to make here. In your question there as D%. I want to convert into D only, the 1%. The 1%. Because if you have percent there, later in your calculation, D% is D over 100, is something else. So therefore, in here, to get less confused, I just want to convert to become D only. Then next, what it happens to know is that according to these transactions here, I suppose, as I said just now, he will get money less than 10,000, which is the 10,000, sorry, I think there is a typing error there. There's a typing error there. There's supposed to be 10,000, not 1,000. It's supposed to be 10,000 here. This amount here is supposed to be 10,000, not 1,000. This amount should be 10,000, not 1,000. 10,000 minus the discount, and then he need to return back 10,000 at the end of the day, according to the transaction here. Then he was told that the proceed he received was 7,000. So what happened is that actually the amount that he received, the amount of money that he get at the end of the day, the amount of money that they get at the end of the day is 7,000. Is 7,000. Dia dapat 7,000. And now what we want to find out according to the questions, I have just made correction. Find the value of D, which is the discount rate. Then hence use this discount rate to find the simple interest rate. And let's see how we get the calculation here done. So according to info here, we find out that we have the S according to the simple discount formula is referred to the loan amount, which is 10,000. The amount that he asked for. Proceed is the amount, the actual amount of money received, which is 7,000. And then by using the formula, proceed equals to S bracket 1 minus dt, substitute accordingly. I suppose that I can get my answer for D equals to 6%, 0.06. But this is not the final answer required by the question, because the question is actually asked for, if you see carefully, they ask for simple interest. They're asking for the simple interest according to the questions. They're asking for the simple interest rate, which is equivalent to this discount rate. So our work haven't done yet. We just get the D value. So in order to get our final answer according to the question, the R, so what I need to do, proceed further, is that based on the formula, R equals to D over 1 minus dt. I substitute the D and also the time accordingly. So the time T here is referred to 5 years. The D is 0.06 based on previous calculations. Substitute, we have the answer correct to 2 decimal places for percentage, will be 8.57%. So just a simple calculations on these questions here. Okay, next I proceed. Question 2b. Diana deposited 1,000 into an account that pay an interest rate of 7% compounded quarterly. So what happens in here is that she deposited 1,000 now. I consider the timeline is now. And it was told that with interest of 7% compounded quarterly. So from here, we can see that the J is 0.07, as you can see in the timeline here, And then followed by compounded quarterly, that means M equals to 4, 1 year compound 4 times. Then next, what is being told initially is that she intended to keep the account untouched for 9 years. So actually, at first, she planned that don't have any transactions for 9 years. No money in, no money out for 9 years. However, after 4 years, she had to withdraw 80% from the account. So unfortunately, something happens. She had to withdraw out 80% of the amount after 4 years. That means 4 years later, she withdraw out 80% of the saving. And now find the amount of the account after the withdrawal. So that means what we want now is that at the end of the 4 years, 4 years later, this accumulated amount, we draw out 80%, and we want to find out what is the remaining amount inside the account, which is the 20% that left over after the withdrawal. So whatever is it, our first step here is, in order to find the 20% that is left after withdrawal, we need to first find out at the end of the 4 years before the withdrawal, how much amount money is accumulated. And according to this question here, it's very obvious that you know that this is a case of compound interest with the word compounded. And just now we already extracted information. The nominal rate J is 0.07. M is equals to 4. By using the compound interest formula, we try to calculate out after 4 years, what is the amount that accumulated here. So the amount accumulated, let's say I call it S. So S is calculated by 1,000 multiplied with 1 plus 0.07 divided by 4 to the power of 16. How is the 16 coming out from? So it's referred to the M multiply T. 1 year, compound interest for 4 times, 4 years in total here. So 4 times 4, total 16. So power of 16. In here, I just directly put 16. If you want to put as 4 times 4 for the power, no problem. But in here, I just direct calculate because it's simple calculations. Press calculator, we should have our answer 1319.93. This is the amount that accumulated at the end of the 4 year. But yet, this is not the final answer. We're not interested with the final amount accumulated after 4 years. We're interested with the balance after withdrawal. So you withdraw 80%, it will remain 20%. And what we're interested to know here is that what is the amount of the 20%? So therefore, in here, what you do is that the balance after withdrawal, which is the 20%, we just take this accumulated amount, multiply with 0.2. And therefore, the answer will equals to 263.99, 263.99 cents. So this is the balance after withdrawal. There goes the answer. And usually I will put my answer scheme in statement for final answer. But of course, I believe majority of you won't do that. So if you won't do that, then make sure your final calculations, your final answer, make sure you have RM in your final calculations. The final part of your calculations here, make sure you have RM. You see in the previous part of the calculation, I don't put any unit RM because it's not final answer yet. But the final answer, the answer that you want to answer, the thing that required by the questions, please kindly put unit accordingly. Like in this case here, the thing that required by the question for us to find is that the amount in the account. The amount in the account is money, RM. So I put the unit RM as the final answer here. Okay. Therefore, this is the answer for questions 2B for section A. Okay. So far, no problem. No, I go on. Next, section A, question 3, also on finance. Let us try to see what happened in the questions here. So once again, these questions here, I do some correction also. I did do some correction also in order to make the question looks a bit make sense. Where in here, what the correction I make here is that I make correction on this word here. So Jamil need RM 20,000 10 years from now. So he deposited RM 10,000 in the account today. So I make the correction so. Supaya nampak logik sikit lah. The original words kalau baca ayat itu macam pelik saja. So therefore I change to so. Dia perlukan jadi dia simpan duit. Okay. So continue. We want to calculate the simple interest rate per year that the bank would offer him to help him to reach this goal here. And let's see how we do the calculations now. So first of all, Jamil need 20,000 10 years from now. That means if the now is today, 10 years from now is that after 10 years, he need to have 20,000 in his hand or in his account. So what he want to do to achieve this 20,000 here is that he take the actions that deposited 10,000 in his bank account today. Helpful or not, we don't know, but he tried to do some action there. And in order for this action to be helpful, from 10,000 to become 20,000 in 10-year times, we would like to know what is the interest rate, the simple interest rate that actually will help him to achieve this. So this is the one that we want to find out. What is the simple interest rate that is offered by the bank that will help him to reach this goal here? So from this case here, we can see that this is basically a case of simple interest. The simple interest case where I want to find out what is the interest rate so that can from 10,000 accumulated become 20,000 in 10-year times. So as a result, we just use simple interest formula. We just use simple interest formula where according to these situations here, the 10,000 will be the P, the 10,000 will be the P, the 20,000, the 10,000 here will be the P, the 20,000 will be the S according to the formula. Then we substitute accordingly and we have the result as following initially. Simplify our answer. So from this line to the next line, what I did in the calculation here is that I would like to divide both sides with 10,000. I divide both sides with 10,000. So as a result, you see 20,000 become 2, 10,000 become 1 plus 10R. The 10,000 here is being simplified out. Go on. Then further simplify the result, we find out that we have 1 equals to 10R, and R is actually 0.1. And finally, convert into percentage for the interest rate. We notice that we need to have 10% interest rate in order to achieve this answer. So this is what we have by answer for the simple interest rate that is needed. Okay. Go on. If I'm going too fast, please kindly stop me. If I'm making any mistake, please kindly stop me as well. Okay. On continue 3B. Vijay invested RMX in an investment scheme that promised a return of 10% simple interest rate. The value of his investment after 60 months was 7,500. Find the value of X. So we roughly read through the questions to understand the situations where this happens that Vijay invested some money and then get some returns after 60 months. And now we again interpret the questions and slowly extract the information and understand the situation. Vijay invested RMX. So let's say consider the timeline is now. He invested X. And then this scheme here, it promised a return of 10% simple interest rate. So throughout now and until after 60 months, we're going to have simple interest rate of R equals to 0.1, which is 10%. And you were told that the value of his investment after 60 months is 7,500. At the end of the time, we got 7,500. Now find the value of X. So in this case here, after we understand the situation, it's happened like this. From X, accumulate becomes 7,500 and undergoes simple interest rate. How we get our answer now is that simple interest rate, of course, we refer to simple interest formula, where in these situations here, I will have the X here as the principal P, and then the 7,500, it will refer to the accumulated value S or the future value S. Then we substitute accordingly. So we have 7,000 equals to X multiply with bracket 1 plus 0.1 for the simple interest rate. The time T here is 60 divided by 12, where we would like to always take the time given in the questions. We will always like to convert into years. 60 months is actually equal to 60 divided by 12, and as a result, is equal to 5 years. So simplify our answer, we will see 7,500 equals to 1.5x, and finally, x is equal to 5,000. And for your information, actually, the x here, I don't have to put any RM there. Sepatutnya tak letak RM. Kenapa? Because kalau you tengok balik ayat ini, if you refer back to this sentence here, it's written as RMX. So the X here is supposed to be some numbers only. If you someone put X equals to RM 5,000, that means by the time I substitute this result that you calculate out back into the statement, it become RM 2 times. So sepatutnya tak ada RM. Tapi kalau you nak letak juga, tak ada masalah lah. Mana tahulah, boleh juga. Because the answer scheme mungkin pun letak RM juga. Tapi sepatutnya tidak letak RM. But if you letak juga, tak kisahlah. Go on. So this is what we have for the sections A for chapter 7, finance. Then now I want to proceed further for section B, finance questions. And I hope that you pay attention because section 3 questions is much complicated. You need to really pay attention and interpret the situation carefully. If necessary, maybe you need to do some drawing there for you to see the situation clearly. And all this while you see that in my solution here, even the simple question, I'm doing the drawing that to see the situations clearly, what is going on. Okay, now let's see question number 6. Okay. We quickly read through the sentence, then we slowly interpret the informations. So 5 years ago, Amiro deposited 5,000 in a saving account, earning 6% interest compounded every 6 months. And then at the same time, he deposited 100 at the end of every month in another account, earning 4% interest compounded monthly. Then follow, there is more story happening. But let us try to interpret the informations on these two sentences here first, slowly. I believe you already finished reading the whole statement of the questions. Now, let us focus on these two sentences to interpret the informations. First of all, you were told that 5 years ago, Amiro deposited 5,000 in a saving account. Let's say at the side there is a number line, right? There's a timeline. This is the first account that I have. It deposited 5,000 in the account with interest compounded 6%. With interest of 6% compounded every 6 months. So this is what happens. He insert 5,000 into the account 5 years ago, and then if until today's, it takes time of 5 years, t equals to 5, with the interest rate 0.06 for the J value, M equals to 2 because compounded every 6 months. Compounded every 6 months, 1 year, compound 2 times. So M equals to 2. Then after that, by the time today, right, it has accumulated some amount of money. How much is it? I have no idea yet until I do calculation. So let's say I simply call it as SA, the SA. How much is the SA? Later, if necessary, we calculate. If not necessary, I might just put as declarations. And the next part of the questions, at the same time, so on the same time frame here, 5 years ago and today, he deposited 100 at the end of every month in another account. So in another account, and another account earning different interest rate and compounded in different time periods. So in this case here, what we find out is that it earning 4% interest compounded monthly. So the situation is happening that in this timeline here, 100 is deposited in the next account every month and run for 5 years, which t equals to 5. And the J is 0.04, M equals to 12 according to the information of the question. 4% interest here is the nominal rate J. Compounded monthly, that means 1 year compounded 12 times. So this is the info that I have interpreted. Then next, we follow by the next, follow by that, you find out that at the end of the time today, for this account, it will earn some, it will accumulate some amount of money, which is SB. I just call it SB. Then next, after this amount is accumulated in both of the account, what happened is that today, he withdraw all his money from both of the account. So both SA and SP, the amount totally withdraw out. The account is depleted. So what's the purpose of doing this? To settle a 10% down payment for a new bike with a price of RM175,000. So we're going to withdraw out all the money. He's going to withdraw out all the money to pay 10% down payment. And then later he find out the total withdrawal is not sufficient. This amount of money, the total of SA and SP, is not enough for the payment of the 10%. Or in other words, this amount of the 10% is more than all the saving from SA and SP total up. So what we require in this question here is that how much additional money is needed. So we know the saving is not enough. So need to top up how much. We would like to know the amount that need to top up. So in order to get these questions to be done, let's see how we're going to do the calculations. First, just think logically. How we know the amount that need to top up? It just basically is referred to the amount that need to pay minus the total saving from SA and SP. That will be the answer that we want to find out. If you have that idea very clear now, so let us try to slowly calculate out what is SA, SP, and also the 10% of the down payment, and then we do the subtraction. That will be the answer. So we start with the calculation of the SA. SA is referred to a compound interest, not annuity here for the 5,000 because only one times deposit of 5,000. Where in here, I will have the SA by the compound interest formula with 5,000 is the P. The I is 0.06 divided by 2, power of 10. So why is it power of 10? N equals to 10 because 1 year compound 2 times. In total, 5 years. So 2 times 5, 10. And therefore, press calculator, we have answer 6719.58. In here, I don't put the RM there because it's not the final answer yet. So you put RM or don't put RM doesn't matter. So I don't put RM there. Next, let us calculate the second resources of money, the SP, which is an annuity. The annuity for 5 years and every month 100 ringgit. So we substitute accordingly. And this is the formula that I have. And again, my focus here is that I want you to refer to the value of the N here. The value of the N here. The value of the N here. We have 60. How the 60 comes in. So guys and girls, deposit every month. And it's for 5 years. So 1 year, 12 times. 5 year, 5 times 12, 60. So this is how I get the answer. You don't have to show the calculation so detailed, 5 times 12. Just can direct because it's simple calculations. And then the interest I, 0.04 divided by 12. Then we just press calculator accordingly. We have 6629.90. So this is the amount that we have for the second resources. Continue. Next, what we do, go on. So from there, we find out that the total amount that we draw out or the total amount that has saved, we just take the two SA and SP total up together. We have 13349.48. So this is the amount to pay the down payment. Of course, this amount is not enough. And what is the amount of the down payment actually we need to pay is that the 10% down payment is actually the price 175,000 multiply 0.1, 10% multiply 0.1. So we have it as 70,500. Therefore, the additional amount of money needed, just take the down payment minus the withdrawal will do. So it will be 4,150.52. And this is the final answer that I need according to the questions. So that's why I have a RM there for 4150.52 there. So this is actually the amount of money that I need for the final answer. In sentence, the additional money needed is just as simple as that. But of course, I believe you won't want to write the sentence out. So make sure your final answer, as I highlighted here, make sure you put the RM there. This is the final answer that we need with RM. So that goes question number 6. Okay. Can I proceed? Any problem? No? Okay. No. Now, question number 7. Okay, question number 7, I believe this question is some very routine question that you see all the time in the case of annuity. But I hope that this time you will see it in another way of approach where you have better understanding rather than just memorize a certain formula to get the answer. Okay, so at this moment here, let us try to interpret the informations. Let us try to interpret the informations where try to understand what is going on in the story rather than just memorize formula. So in here, Khadija purchased a house by paying 22,099 ringgits as down payment, and the balance was borrowed from a bank that charged interest of 10% compounded monthly. The monthly payment for the loan for 30 years is 2,000 ringgit. So basically, the questions here, if we try to understand the story behind, rather than just consider formula. Someone bought a house with 2 payments. One is by down payment. The other one is by loan, 2 resources of money to purchase the house. And after she took the loan to buy the house, she need to repay back the loan. And the repayment of the loan is not one-shot payment, but it's by installment, and she pay monthly. 2,000 for 30 years. So this is a rough story and happening. And now let us analyze the question systematically. So first, again, purchase the house by paying down payment and loan. So therefore, we know that she buy house using down payment and loan. Down payment is 22,099. Loan is how much? Question doesn't state. If you want to calculate, yes, we can calculate. But now we just interpret whatever information that we can see directly from the question. Continue. Now, for the loan part here, what is the information that we can know about the loan part there? For the loan, we know we have an interest of 10%. And this interest is the nominal rate, which is the J, 0.1. The word compounded monthly tells us that 1 year compounded 12 times, M equals to 12. And then this loan is run for 30 years, the T equals to 30. And we have a monthly payment, the R equals to 2,000. Summarize all this, you have the information of the loan as J equals to 0.1, M equals to 12, T equals to 30, R equals to 2,000. Then the I and N, we can calculate accordingly, where I equals to J over M. The N is equals to M multiplied with T. Or T multiplied with M does not matter, it's the same thing. Okay. So this is the info that we can interpret. Then, of course, reach until this moment here. To get the answer later, maybe you just memorize the formula AN, whatever, to get the answer. But have you ever think about why it's using AN? And now I want you to see carefully the idea that how we get the AN, refer to the timeline at the side. So the situation happened for the loan in the way that at this moment now, get the amount of loan, how much we don't know, but it's a big amount of money loan. And then followed by each of the months, we need to make repayment of 2,000 until the end of 30 years. And by right, there is a total of 360 payment. The 1, 2, 3 there is referred to the first, second, third, so on so forth until 360 payments. So this is a situation happening. And how does this help us to get the idea of getting the loan by using AN formula is that if you realize all these 2,000 payment from the first until the 36 payment, all this money here is already included the interest. It already included the interest. So if I want to find out actually the amount of loan, it's just that we take all this amount of money here, all the R, all the 2,000 here, we calculate back to the present time without interest. So for the first 2,000, if back to the present time, by right, I will have a present value of 2,000 multiplied 1 plus I to the power of minus 1. So in here, watch out carefully. This is just the idea of the simple idea of compound interest. This is just a simple idea of compound interest, where this is the P, this is the S for this transaction here, for this transaction here. From this one, after one month, it will compound become 2,000. So now we just want to from future value back to present value accordingly. So for the second payment, the present value is actually 2,000 multiplied 1 plus I to the power of minus 2. For the third one, power of minus 3. Of course, you can continue for the fourth, fifth, so on so forth. But in here, I'm not going to proceed any further because I want to list out just in order to see the patterns only. Saya nak tengok patterns untuk mudahkan kiraan saja. So what I happen to find out is that in this case here, if reached until 360, by right, it will be power of negative 360. And the amount of loan that actually being borrowed here is actually, we're taking all this present value, we total it up, it will be the amount of loan. And to total up this, all the present value here, the calculation is summarized by A 360, the N equals to 360 into such a. The A 360 here is actually, if you realize, we total up all this that I highlighted in pink here by using the idea of geometric progression formula. If you ever realize, When the time you total up all this value here, it as if like, sorry, it as if like we total up a geometric progressions from T1 all the way until T360 for a GP where the R is 1 plus I to the power minus 1. But of course, we are not going to derive the geometry formula here, but we directly apply the result of the AN formula. Sepatutnya sudah derive keluar at the beginning of the lesson. We just apply saja. But of course, I don't think that you realize benda ini, some of you just pakai saja, main belasa saja. But this is the idea that actually happened. We calculate all the present value of the payment, total up, that is actually the amount of loan. Okay, if I understand of this idea here now, let's just start to answer the question. What is the cash price of the house? So the cash price of the house is actually the amount of money that we pay to buy the house. So the amount of money that pay to buy the house, if you realize, is come from two resources, down payment and the loan. So we total up the down payment and loan, that will be the amount of the cash price. So how to get the answer there? Down payment already stated in the question. Now we just want to focus on calculation of the loan. Just now, somehow I tell you that the loan is being calculated by A360, where A is based on the AN formula. We substitute accordingly. We should be able to get the answer. So therefore, to calculate the loan is A360. Substitute accordingly to the formula. Press calculator. We should have the answer as 227901.64. So this is the amount of loan that is borrowed. Then now what we're interested is not the loan amount, but we're interested with the cash price. Berapa duit sudah bayar untuk beli rumah ini, harga rumah ini. So as you can see from the formula, I need to add this loan here with the down payment. So we plus with 22099. So the actual amount I should have is 250000.64. So again, this already reached the final answer. This already reached the final answer. That's why you see that I put RM there. This one already reached the final answer. That's why I put RM there. And of course, if you want to write down statement or understand better in statement, it's basically just that the cash price is this amount. That's it. Okay, go on. Next, part B. Part B. These questions here, I believe you can solve easily by using formula. But how far you understand the idea of the formula, again, that's another story. So let me spend some time for this simple calculation here to understand the concept, the theory behind. So what is interest? Basically, interest is referred to the total monthly payments minus the loan amount. All the money you pay minus the money that you borrow, that will be the interest. And in here, the amount of money that pay is all the monthly payment, So in total, there is 360 monthly payment. Then minus the loan amount, where the loan amount we already calculated on the previous part. Watch out, the loan amount is 227901.64. It's not 25 something. 25 something is the price of the house. Some of the money of the price of the house is your own money from the down payment. It's not part of the loan, so be careful on here. So therefore, you should take the total monthly payment minus the loan, and this is being summarized by the formula N times R multiplied with AN. Or maybe in your lecture notes, it's written as RTM, not NR, but actually it's the same thing. The TM already multiplied here become N. So therefore, I substitute accordingly, I will get my answer. The interest will be 492098.36. That goes your answer for 7B. untuk ambil attendance saja. Okay, so next 7C. Okay, another very routine questions that we always see in the loan case, loan repayment case. So again, instead of just simply memorize the formula, let us try to understand the concept if possible. How come we use SN formula to do calculation here? Okay, so let's see. If Khalija have not paid for her first 6 payments, how much should she pay on her 7th payment to settle all the outstanding array? So what happened in the situation here is that the first 6 payment is missed out. So by right, there is 2,000 should be paid on the last 6 months, but she missed out all this. And now it's due for the current 2,000 on the 7 months. Now she want to clear off all this outstanding debt. How much should she pay? So if you think of just 2,000, so 7 multiplied 2,000 will be the answer. That is totally wrong, because once you miss out any payment, you will get penalty. Kamu akan didenda. The penalty is actually the interest being charged on each of the monthly payment, the monthly installment. So how we get our answer here? Let's see. By right, currently you need to pay 2,000. Then you refer to the 2,000 on the 6th month, the 2,000 on the 6th month here, yang ini, this one. How much interest we'll get for this 2,000 on the 6th payment here, or the 6th month? It will be 2,000 multiplied with 1 plus I. The I here is according to the interest rate lah, for the questions given, the J over M accordingly to the questions. Then for the 5th payment, it will be 1 plus I power of 2. So why is power of 2? Because if you can see, it go through 2 compounding periods. According to the questions, it did go through 2 compounding periods, where once again, we try to check. For the 6th payment, it go through 1 compounding period. For the 5th one, it go through 2 compounding periods, so power of 2. So the next one, it go through 3 compounding period, power of 3, so on and so forth. So by right, this is the actual amount that need to pay for the previous 6 months. It's a different amount for this current due time. And now, if you want to clear off all this debt here, just in simple, pay up all this money, total up all this. And how to get the answer for all this? If you realize, we can solve this by using the idea of geometry progression, the SN formula from geometry progression. But once again, if I want to derive out, yes, I can get the answer. But right derivation did that previously at the time start. So therefore, in your actual calculation in the exam, we are not going to slowly derive by geometry progression formula. Instead, we just use the SN formula in NOT to get answer. So in here will be S7. Okay. By the way, just in short and simple, in the future, in exam, tiba-tiba you blank. You nak buat hafal saja. So how to get the answer? Whenever miss out payment, you know, should use S. So S berapa? You see how many payment miss out plus 1. The 1 is current payment. Like here, miss out 6 plus 1. So S7. So therefore, use SN formula. We calculate accordingly. We get the 14,354.90 cents. That is the answer that we have. Okay, go on. Next, another commonly questions that we see. We want to have early settlement. So how we do the early settlement here? So this is another case. Again, I don't want you just simply memorize formula, but you try to understand at least the very simple concept, even though you're not able to derive out the whole formula or the number line to see that. So immediately after making the 300 payments, so guys and girls, what happened in this situation here is that we are referring at this position here on the 300 payment. Pada masa ini, dia sudah clear the 300 payment. Khalija decided to settle the balance of the loan, find the balance. So the balance of the loan refer to what? It's refer to the remaining payment. the remaining payment in the future. So by right, how many more payments is in front yang belum bayar lagi? You find out that there is 60 more payment that is unpaid, 60 more payment in the future that is unpaid. So how much she should pay in order to clear off the balance? If you think that is 60 multiplied R, then it's totally wrong. Because if 60 multiplied R, that means actually we don't have advantage to make early payment. Kalau saya bayar awal, of course saya expect saya dapat discount. Saya boleh bayar kurang sikit. Kalau bayar amount sama, buat apalah saya nak bayar awal untuk habiskan loan itu. So therefore, in this case here, it's not logic to be 60R. And how we calculate the amount that is discounted, the amount of loan that we need to clear off in this case here is that, again, we take all this repayment here back to the past or the current time, the future payment come back to the current time. So this is the amount that we should have for each of the payment from 2000 times 1 plus I to the power minus 1 all the way to the power of minus 60. So again, the idea is just a simple compound interest rate. It's just a simple calculation of compound interest rate, as if I refer to this 301 here. This is the P, this is the S. You want to know if this is the S value after 1 month, what is the present value? Itu saja. And then total up all this amount, it will be the total amount that we want to clear for the balance, which is A60. Okay, of course, I don't expect all of you can really understand the timeline here for the calculation, but at least I want you to remember one thing. Remember one thing, when the time you read the questions, you want to use AN formula, make sure the N you use for the AN formula is referred to the repayment in the future. Contohnya, kalau you ada 60 bayaran tak terbayar lagi, 60 bayaran ini mestilah bayaran pada masa depan punya. So, baru boleh ambil A60. Tapi kalau ada 60 payment tak terbayar, salah satu payment adalah bayaran sekarang. So, you buat A60 salah. Because kalau 60 payment, salah satu adalah bayaran sekarang, actually you only have 59 future payment. So, you should use A59 plus R, the current payment. So, please be aware of that. So, you perlu tengok betul-betul. The AN formula is only meant for installment pada masa depan. Biasanya adalah bayaran installment selepas 1 bulan. So, this is the idea I want you to take notes. Again, if you cannot really understand the idea, let me take the relative time. For example, let's say now is November. Next month is December. So what are considered as the future payments? So let's say I have 5 more payments belum bayar. 5 more payments belum bayar. So I cannot simply consider as A5 because the A5 provided all these 5 payment is payment in the future. For example, now is November. If this 5 payment is start from December, January, February, March, April, then yes, I can use A5 because all this payment here is future punya. But if these 5 payments is include November, sekarang November, December, January, February, March, then this case here I tak boleh guna A5 because November is current payment. Current payment tak boleh ada discount. Kalau tak boleh ada discount, mesti bayar penuh. Jadi yang boleh dapat discount punya ialah 4 payment in the future. So it's A4 plus R, the current payment yang due. So this is something that I want you to take notes. So this thing here is being discussed is the set nasi kandar. Kenapa soalan itu bukan A80 ya, if I'm A80 is something lah. Dia ada tambah R punya because the R is the current payment yang sudah due. The AN is only for future payment. Again, kalau 5 bayaran itu salah satu termasuk bayaran sekarang November, then I cannot use A5. I must use R plus A4 because 4 more payment is in the future. Kalau semua 5 payment itu ada in the future, start from December onwards, yes, I can use A5. So this is the thing that I want you to take. So in this case here, all the 60 payments is in the future. Therefore, I can use A60 to calculate the answer. And this is the answer 94130.74. So therefore, this is the answer that I have for questions number 7 for section B for finance questions. Okay, next. I want to refer to section A, question number 1, chapter 6 for sequence and series. Let's see what happened in the questions here. The sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic sequence is an squared plus bn. Given the first term is 7 and the common difference is 15, find the value of a and b. So guys and girls, watch out for my solution here, because I believe my solution maybe is a bit different from yours, because the solution I make here is a bit different from the actual schema that is being prepared by our lecturer in KMPP. So, first of all, when the time you interpret the information, you was told that this is the case of arithmetic sequence. You have an squared plus bn is the sum of the first n term. In other words, dia ada satu formula, Sn adalah a squared plus bn. But in here, please be aware, this a here bukan the first term. The a in this formula bukan the first term. Okay, so in order to make the difference later, the first term here, saya tak tulis sebagai a, saya akan tulis sebagai T1. Supaya tak confuse a first term untuk a dalam formula ini. And then we have a common difference of d. So how we get the answer for a and b? Okay, watch out guys and girls. So in this question here again, question tell you that it's arithmetic. And they give you a formula of Sn, a customized formula an squared plus bn. However, kalau you sedar satu perkara, if this is happen to be the arithmetic sequence Sn according to the formula that we learned in formula list, it will be n over 2 bracket 2 times the first term T1. Again, saya tak mau tulis A sini supaya tak confuse dengan A sebelah sini. So, saya tulis T1 plus n minus 1 D. So, again, soalan-soalan ini, dia ada dua formula Sn. Secara tersurat, terang-terang nampak dalam soalan is the an squared plus bn. One more is indirectly, we know, because we know it's arithmetic. So arithmetic, we have these formulas here. But of course, the first term and the d, you can substitute accordingly. And by right, both of them is equal to Sn. Both of them is equal to each other. So therefore, I need you to understand my calculation now is that, watch out, I start with Sn equals to an squared plus bn. This is the formula given in the questions. And watch out in my calculation now from this formula here. So on the right-hand side is the formula that given by the question an squared plus bn. On the right-hand side, on the next line here, it will be the Sn that we calculate out based on the Sn formula for arithmetic. Therefore, n over 2, 2 times 7, the first term is 7, plus n minus 1, 15, n minus 1 times 15 equals to a squared plus bn. Again, the left-hand side is the Sn formula. We try to calculate out based on the formula list of Sn formula. The right-hand side is the one that given in the question. By right, they are the same. Cara ini lebih pendek, tapi mungkinlah I'm not sure how far you can accept the answer very well. So please listen carefully how I get this answer. Next, simplify the answer on the left. So 2 times 7, 14. Expand 15, 15n minus 15 equals to, the right-hand side remain unchanged. The left-hand side further simplified. 14 minus 15, so I have n over 2, 15n minus 1. Right-hand side again remain unchanged. Continue. Expand the n over 2 inside. So I have the result as 50 over 2n squared minus 1 over 2n equal, again, right hand side unchanged. Reach until here, compare both sides. Compare both sides. How you compare both sides, guys and girls? Watch out for the compare. So we're going to compare the square terms. We're going to compare the square term with the square terms. We compare the square term with the square terms. The coefficient for n squared is 15 over 2 and a. So from here, compare a is equal to 15 over 2. Similarly, compare the n. So b is equal to negative 1 over 2. Itu saja saya dapat jawapan. So this is how I get my answer. So this solution is shorter. Kalau you boleh terima. Kalau you tak boleh terima, I have another version of answer. Panjang sikit, tapi maybe saya tak mau terangkan lah, takut tak cukup masa. So kalau you nak, boleh sepintas selalu check adakah solution ini yang you buat, atau you snap the answer here. So this is what happens. Okay, guys and girls. What happened in these solutions here is that if you refer, so we notice that in these solutions here, we have Sn equals to an squared plus bn. So you were told that the first term is 7, the common difference is 15. How to get the answer for A and B here and relate with this information here? First of all, if the first term is 7, so guys and girls, how does the first term can relate with Sn formula is that we realize that T1 is actually equals to S1. So I calculate S1, I can relate with 7. Then the common difference pula, macam mana saya nak kira common difference? So common difference is D. In order to calculate the common difference, I need to use T2 minus T1. But I have T1, maybe I have T1, but I don't have T2. So how can I get T2 here, guys and girls? T2, I can make use of the Sn formula. I can make use of the Sn formula equals to S2 minus S1. So this is a rough idea we can see. So overall, what you can roughly see is that I need to know what is S1, S2, T1, T2 before I can start to solve the questions. So therefore, in my calculation here, I start with calculation of S1 in terms of A and B. I calculate S2 in terms of A and B. Then just now, as we mentioned, the first term T1 is equal to S1. T1 is 7. S1 is A plus B according to the previous calculation. So I have the first equation, A plus B equals to 7. Then in order to get T2, so that I can further relate with common difference, so I use S2 minus S1. So I have 4A plus 2B minus A plus B. So I got 3A plus B. And this is used for the further calculation where common difference D is equals to 15. So T2 minus T1, substitute accordingly. I get the answer for A. Once I get the answer for A, I substitute back into this equation here, I will get my answer for B. Itu saja idea dia. Tapi dia panjang sikit lah compared to just now the calculation. Just now the calculation is basically, you calculate another Sn formula based on the arithmetic progression, compare with the Sn given in the question to get the A and B. This one, you have a lot of calculation and evolve from maybe simultaneous equation to get the answer. But actually, I don't recommend to use this method for these questions. Okay. Now, next, I want to go on with the next question. Question B. Question B. 1B. The question says, hence, find the value of n if the sum of the first n terms of the sequence is 1, 2, 6, 1. So the word hence is trying to tell you that make use of previous answer. Previous answer is what? Previous answer we have is the value of A and B. What is the A and B can tell us? They can tell us now the Sn formula is completed in this form here. Again, don't recalculate the Sn formula anymore, but we just use the an squared plus bn, substitute the A and B to get this formula in blue to proceed the calculation. This is the idea of hence. Make use of the value of A and B and also the Sn given in the questions. We get this result, then now we do our calculations. You were told that the sum of first n terms is 1261. That means we start with Sn equals to 1261. What is Sn according to the questions? We have 15 over 2 n squared minus 1 over 2 n equals to 1261. Somehow you can see this is a quadratic equations. Rearrange all the terms on one side. So I have 15 over 2 n squared minus 1 over 2 n minus 1261 equal to 0. Then please, guys and girls, I believe you use calculator to do factorization, but don't do factorization at this moment. Whenever you find out that you have the terms here, come with fractions, or when the time you have the square terms here come with negative, please don't use your calculator to do factorization directly, but we do some adjustment to get rid of the negative, to get rid of the fractions. In this case here, focus on the square parts here. I want to get rid of the fractions, so I multiply 2 on both sides. So this gives me the result 15n squared minus n minus 2522 equals 0. By factorizations and solve, I suppose I have two answers for n value. One is n equals to negative 194 over 15. The other one is n equals to 13. So if there is two answers, you need to make decision. Choose either one, or you're going to take both. In this case here, we're going to choose one of them only. And of course, I believe you will choose the positive answer. You will reject the negative answer. But please don't reject because you tak suka negative saja. But you must know the reasoning. Why you should not taking the negative answer? Because the n here is referred to the first n terms. N itu adalah bilangan. Kita tak ada bilangan negatif. Bayangkan kalau ada bilangan negatif. If I told you in this classroom here there is negative 10 students, maksudnya apa? Sorry, bukan hantu. Hantu pun 1, 2, 3, 4 ekor. Tak ada negatif. So there's no such thing as negative 10 students in the classroom. So bilangan sesuatu tak boleh ada negatif. You tak bilang guna negatif. You bilang guna positif saja. So we should take only positive and also integers only. Continue. Next. Section B, I want to refer to questions number 5. Number 5 on chapter 6. Okay, guys and girls, let's see what is the questions here talking about. Okay, Salma bought a new set of kitchen cabinets using an installment. Okay, some corrections here. The installment bukan double L. Satu L saja. Double L macam you pasang barang. Dia bukan pasang barang. Dia sedang buat bayaran. So sepatutnya satu L saja. Okay. Using an installment plan with an initial down payment of 500, she paid 125 for the first month with an increment of 25 ringgits every month until the payment for the plan is settled. If the final payments was 1,000, find the following. So let us try to understand the question before we start to answer. Find apa benda. Let us understand the whole story apa berlaku. So you were told that she bought a new sets of kitchen cabinets using installment plan with a down payment of 500. Maksudnya the kitchen cabinet, sorry, wrong spelling. Sepatutnya sini adalah E, cabinet. Is paid by down payment and installment plan. Down payment obviously is 500. Installment plan in total how much? Don't know yet. If need to calculate, we can calculate later. But at this moment here, don't know yet. Then further discussion is about the installment plan. What we know about the installment plan is that she paying the installment in the way that for the first month 125, and then increase 25 for every month until the final installment. The last installment is 1,000. So summarize this sentence here is happen like this. This is the installment plan. First month 125, second month 125 plus 25. I didn't total up become 150 because tak bermakna total up di sini because I'm not interested to know the second month berapa. So that's why I just plus 25 here. The third month plus another 25. So 125 plus 2 times of 25 until the last month is 1,000. This is the scenario of the questions. And then look at the patterns from the first month until the third month. The reason why I list out first, second, and third month because I want to observe the patterns here. I want to observe whether what type of sequence I have. So from here, I observe that this is an arithmetic progressions where I have a common difference of D25, positive 25. Then continue, guys and girls. Now, if you're able to identify this is the case of arithmetic progression, then you need to determine which one is your T1. You determine dulu D ialah apa atau R ialah apa, baru kita consider T1 kita dekat mana, so on and so forth. So by right in here, if I consider the first month as T1, second month T2, third month T3, the last month saya tak tahu berapa. So simply lah, I letak Tn saja. And by right, all this payment here, I total up, it will be actually the total installment that is being paid. So in here you can see lah, if I total up all the installment here is actually, I sum up T1 until Tn. If you sum up from T1 until Tn, it's actually Sn. So the total installment that paid is actually Sn. So this is the general idea we understand about the story. Kita belum masuk lagi untuk jawab soalan. Kita tak tengok part 1, part 2 nak jawab apa. Tapi kita fahamkan cerita macam ini. So this is the installment plan. This is the process of the purchase. Then now, part 1. The number of months she took to settle the installment. So how many months she took to settle the installment? So in order to get this answer here, our clue to get answer is actually the last month, month terakhir. So if the last month I consider as the n months, therefore the value of n, you happen to tell us that the total number of months that required to settle the installment. Because T1 is the first month of payment, T2 second, T3 the third, so on and so forth. So therefore, the last month numbers will be the number of months that require. If I call it as Tn, so n will be the number of months that require. And in here, we start our calculation using the info, arithmetic progression, A is 1 to 5, T is 25, Tn is equal to 1000. Substitute accordingly to the formula, and we shall get our answer n equals to 36. And this is referred to 36 months. 36 months. So actually, she took 36 months to settle the installment. And in here, guys and girls, once again, I believe you won't want to write down the sentence. So your final answer, we add in the unit, the word months then. Okay, the writing is horrible here. I hope that you know this is the word months. Don't write something else. So the final answer, 36 months. Add in the unit there for the final answer. If you are not writing any sentence to explain. So this is how I get my answer. Then finally, the next part. Total amount she paid for the kitchen cabinet. So guys and girls, watch out. The total amount paid for the kitchen cabinet is actually come from two parts. The down payment and also total of all the installment. So the total of all the installment is the SN that we want to calculate later. The down payment is already a fixed value 500. So we total up both of them, it will be the amount that we want to find. So now we begin the calculations with the total of installment need to pay. So based on previous calculation, we find out the last month is actually a 36 month. Bulan ke-36. And therefore, if you notice that this is the 36 month, the end is 36. So we actually need to calculate as 36 for the total installment paid. Because the last payment is the T36 for the 36 month. And therefore, I want to sum up T1 until T36. So the total payment for the installment will be S36. So calculate the total installment paid, which is S36, using SN formula for arithmetic progressions. In here, I'm using 36 over 2, 125 plus 1000. So what is the 1000 here, guys and girls? Is actually referred to the last term. This is the formula n over 2 a plus L, the last term. So this is the last term. Therefore, I have the answer 20250. But this is just the amount for the installment only, not the actual amount paid for the cabinet. The actual amount paid for cabinet will be 500 plus 20250. So I have 20750. Therefore, this is the amount payment that is being paid for the cabinet. And please kindly put in the RM there if you are not planning to write any sentence for explanations. So that goes the answer. Okay, next, go on. B, the number of COVID-19 positive patients detected in the country increased by 5% each day over a period of 7 days. So this increment of 5% is only valid for 7 days saja. Kalau hari ke-8, ke-9 masih lagi increase 5% ke tidak? Tak tahu. Tak ada information. Because the question just mentioned untuk 7 hari ini saja. There are 100 patients detected as positive on the first day. Then so on and so forth. So reach until here saja. We try to interpret the informations. Let's see what happened. So according to the questions, by right, increase by 5%, that means this is the case of geometric progression. We have a common ratio of R equals 1.05. Kenapa 1.05? Kenapa bukan 0.05, guys and girls? Because increase 5%, that means dari 100% plus 5%, so become 105%. 105% convert into decimal 1.05. So this is the common ratio. The percent is gandaan. So as a result, by right, the first day is 100. Second day is how much? 100 multiply 1.05. The third day, multiply another 1.05, so on and so forth. Until 6 day berapa, 7 day berapa, tak tahu. Kalau perlu, kita kira. But so far, this is the thing that I have. Of course, kalau saya nak senarai sampai 7 days pun boleh actually. Tapi janganlah dia senarai macam itu kan. Kiraan tak bermakna sudah according to formula. Okay, go on. So in here, I consider T1, T2, T3 until T7 according to the days. T1 is actually the number of patients for the first day, T2, second day, T3, third day, so on and so forth. And now, what we want to do for the calculation here is that part 1, determine the number of COVID-19 positive patients detected on the 7 days. Okay, I'm not sure the version that you have sudah buat pembetulan belum. Tapi this one saya highlight bahagian yang buat pembetulan to be clearer to state that is COVID-19 positive patient detected. Okay. So go on. Anyway, we just want to know the amount of patients on the 7th day. That means in this case here, we want to find out what is T7. To get T7, geometry progressions formula, 100 multiply 1.05 to the power of 6. We have the answer, 134 patients. So therefore, this is the answer that we have for the 7 days. Okay. By the way, if let's say you press your calculator, find out the answer is come with decimal. Tolong round off kepada nearest integer. Because bilangan orang tak boleh ada decimal. Contohnya, you tak boleh kata ada 0.5 orang sebab budak itu gemuk. So saya consider dia 1,5 orang, 1,5 badan. Tak boleh. You tak boleh kata juga, oh, perempuan itu mengandung. So ada 0.5 dalam perut. Tak boleh juga. Ataupun orang itu accident, tinggal separuh badan saja. Tak boleh. Dia masih consider 1. So no matter what, bilangan orang consider 1. Selagi dia hidup, 1 orang. Tak kisah dia hilang part mana 1. Okay, go on. Next. Find the total number of COVID-19 positive patients detected at the end of the 6th day. So in here, I want to find out what is T1 until T6. So we want to find total detected by the end of the 6th day. Dari hari pertama sampai akhir hari ke-6. Sebelum masuk hari ke-7. So in here, I want to calculate what is the total patient, which is S6. Nothing much. By formula, calculate again. 680.19, right? Round off to the nearest integer. So 680 patient. Therefore, this is the answer we have. Itu saja untuk section B, question number 5 for sequence and series. Okay, go on. Boleh ya? Tak ada kesilapan so far. Okay, next. I want to go for questions for chapter 2. So I want to refer to section B, question number 1. Section B, question number 1. Question 1A. Question 1A. We want to find the solution set for the following inequalities. Okay. So guys and girls, this question here is simple. Tapi jangan pandang rendah pada dia. Sebab terlalu simple sampai you boleh buat salah atau ada orang buat salah. So let's see. Cuba kita tengoklah adakah you akan buat betul. Tapi saya suspect lah somehow ada orang akan buat salah pada final answer nanti. Okay. Let's see. Solve this inequality. Find the solution set. That means you want to solve the x value. So in here, start with the inequalities given in the questions. 4 plus x over 3 greater than 3x plus 4. So guys and girls, this is the case of linear inequalities, the simple case. So my suggestion answer here is that, ada berbagai cara, my suggestion answer here is that, first of all, I don't like to see fractions. So for the old pattern lecturer like me, that we don't depend on calculator so much because we don't have calculator last time to depends. So we don't like to see fractions. So first thing I want to get rid of the fraction. I multiply both sides with 3. The 3 here is positive 3, so inequality sign does not change direction, still greater. So multiply with 3, left hand side 4 plus x, right hand side 9x plus 12. Next, linear inequalities, the technique of solving is just that you group x on one side, constant on the other side, then you will on the process to get answer. Let's say in this case here, watch out, I want to get all the x term on the left, the constant on the right. So what I will need to do is that on the left hand side, I don't want the 4. So I need to minus 4 on both sides. On the right hand side, I don't want the x. I need to minus 9 on both sides. So as a result, I minus the 4, sorry. It's supposed to minus the 4 and also minus the 9x on both sides. So I get minus 8x greater than 8. So check, tolak 4, kosong. Tolak negatif 9, negatif 8x. Tolak negatif 9x, x hilang. Tolak 4, 8. Then what I want for my answer is something to do with x, not minus 8x. So the next thing what I want to do is that I want to multiply negative x on both sides. Sorry, divide negative x on both sides. I want to divide negative x on both sides. And watch out, when the time you divide negative x, inequality sign change direction. Whenever you multiply or divide negative numbers, inequality sign change direction. Watch out, this is the thing that you need to be aware. Sampai sini, kalau you SPM student, jawapan sampai sini habis. Matriculation student or uni student, you don't stop here. You give your final answer accordingly in solution set or in interval notation. And in these questions here, they say solution set. So give your answer in set notation. So therefore, it's x dot dot, x less than negative 1. Okay, by the way, 3 dot di depan ini 3 dot di depan ini kan, tak payah punya. Ini adalah perkataan short form untuk therefore. What you need is just this curly bracket and then x less than minus 1. So there goes your answer. Sepatutnya solution set, you should keep set notation. Bagi interval form sebenarnya boleh salah. Tapi lah sometimes you bernasib baiklah pemeriksa itu tak kisahlah, dia bagi betul juga. But please, solution set, the word set tell us that you should keep set notations. Go on. 1B. We have a case of quadratic inequalities. So copy now the inequalities, guys and girls. So in this case here, I would like to solve the quadratic inequality by using graphical method. So the first thing is that I want to group all the terms to the left. So therefore, I don't want to have the x and minus 2 on the right hand side. So I'm going to minus x and plus 2 on both sides to get the result, minus x squared minus x plus 10 greater equals 0. Inequality sign does not change directions because I tambah tolak tak akan change inequality sign directions. The one will change directions is you multiply negative number, multiply or divide negative number. Go on. Reach until here. Some of you start to do factorization, but please guys and girls, jangan. You mesti tahu kenapa kita buat graphical method, kenapa kita buat graphical method, apa sedang berlaku. So in graphical methods, you find out that you always draw smiling face graph and then analyze the questions. The smiling face graph is actually based on the inequalities that we have here. This quadratic here is come with negative on the x squared. By right, it's a sad face graph. Jadi kalau you sketch smiling face, memangnya salah. Until 12:30, right? Itu. Okay, continue. So in here, I want to get rid of the negative sign. So in here, I multiply both sides with -1. So watch out again. Inequality sign change directions. When the time I multiply the negative value. Then now, you can see that next thing we do factorization. Okay, guys and girls, understand that why we do factorization? Kalau you perasan, kenapa? You understand, tapi kenapa? You buat factorization? You tak berani jawab sudah. So we do factorization is to find out later when the time you do graphical methods to sketch the graph, right? You want to see the graph cut x-axis at which part based on the factor. So based on the factors here, I suppose I'm able to see that from each of the brackets here, I find out that it will cut x-axis at 5/3 and also -2. So by right, after you do this factorization, guys and girls, please jangan you pergi buat kerja macam ini. Contohnya, akan ada budak buat kerja macam ini. You pergi buat 3x minus 5 less than equal 0. X less than equal to 5/3. Okay, ini kerja menyampah. Kalau you buat graphical method, you will never ever need to do that. Serve no purpose of doing that. Lantaklah you punya rumit science student kata nak buat macam mana, jangan kisah. You dengar sini, you buat graphical methods. The moment you finish the factorization, you go for graph. So what do you do for graph here, guys and girls? You just do a smiling face graph because syarat kita sudah ada. Kita sudah turn the square is positive. Kita sudah factorize untuk nampak potong dekat 5/2. Sorry, potong dekat 5/3. Potong dekat, teruk. Potong dekat -2. Potong dekat 5/3. Okay. So, the lukisan here saya teruk. Tapi saya harap you masih boleh nampak lah. Because it's very hard for me to control the mouse here. Okay. Then now, go on further. Okay. Again, I draw the graph. Okay. Watch out, guys and girls. So this is supposed to be the graph that I have. Okay. What we want to analyze in the questions now here is that we want to analyze for the case that I want the graph to be less than 0. The graph less than 0 is actually investigating that which part of the graph which is below the horizontal axis. Below the horizontal axis. The graph that below horizontal axis will be this part here. I try to highlight. Okay, I try to highlight here. Bagian ini yang graph itu below. And then what we want to investigate further for this graph below here is that what are the corresponding x value that cover for this part here. So the corresponding x value will be this section here I highlight now. So kita punya jawapan dekat x value here. And you will realize that in your maybe in last time in your SPM level or even now in matrix level, your lecturer or your teacher will do these two parts here shading 2-in-1 where sepatutnya kita lorek graph, kita lorek x-axis untuk dapat jawapan berdasarkan x-axis. Tapi biasanya kita nak cepat, kita buat 2-in-1. Kita terus lorek sekali macam ini, which is same as the diagram below. So this is the hasil yang kita dapat, tapi dari hasil ini apa yang kita nak baca ialah kita nak baca the X value here in the interval. So we lorette 2 in 1. Kita lorette, sebenarnya kita nak lorette bahagian X-axis yang saya highlight biru, dan kita nak actually lorette juga yang bahagian graph. Tapi kita malas untuk buat loretkan 2 kali, jadi kita teruslah lorette kawasan berkenaan. So bacaan kita final answer berdasarkan bahagian biru, the X value. So the X value here, again solution set. So the answer will be -2 less than equal X less than equal 5/3. So that is how we get the answer for question number 1B. Okay, go on. Section B, number 2. This is the case of absolute value. So guys and girls, be careful on absolute value. I hope that you all have a very clear idea. When is the time that you need to break into 2 cases with and or or? Jangan simply saja break into 2 cases. First of all, when do you need to break into 2 cases? Is when the time either is modulus or in the situation that you see there is 2 inequality, double inequalities. Maksudnya double inequalities, let's say lah, mungkin ada situasi like this, x less than x minus 2 and then less than equal 4. For example, you have 2 inequality there. You need to break into 2 cases. Then yes, you break into 2 cases. Or you have modulus, you break into 2 cases. Jangan sampai satu tahap you jumpa tadi punya soalan satu quadratic dan linear itu you pun break kepada 2 case. Setiap tahun confirm ada student buat macam itu punya. So please, you must be very clear. Bila you perlu break kepada 2 case, bila tak payah. Then in this case here, start with the case of the modulus. Watch out guys and girls. I know you learn this one somehow lah, for TikTok lah, from whoever lah. This one. Sorry. Gola. Greater or less than n. Okay, please Gola ini kan, there are the terms conditions. Gola is a shortcut. Every shortcut have a terms and condition. What is the terms and conditions? Arrangement must be fulfilled first. What is the arrangement must be fulfilled? First, the modulus must always on the left hand side. Saya tak kisah you buat equal ke, greater ke, less than equal ke, greater equal. The modulus mesti letak di sebelah kiri dulu. The rest sebelah kanan. Selagi tak sampai formation ini, jangan pergi gola. Nanti you don't know go where else. So next, make sure in front of your modulus is positive. Tak boleh ada negative sign. Ada nombor tak ada masalah, tapi tak boleh negative sign. Kalau ada negative sign, adjust sampai tak dia hilang. Then baru you start to consider gola or lago whatever lah, then only valid. So now, in this case here, in this initial inequalities, it doesn't fulfill the formation that I want, where I have the -3 on the left-hand side. Formation, before you define, is that make sure modulus is always on the left, the modulus must be positive, the rest on the right-hand side. So therefore, what I need to do here is that I want to get rid of this -3. So in here, I plus 3 on both sides. So I get my answer as follow, modulus greater 2x plus 3. And yes, now it's time to use whatever lah, gola ke, lago ke, whatever lah you want. So break into 2 case. Again, logical thinking. Why you want to break into 2 case? Mesti ada sebab dia. Whenever you buat mathematics, setiap satu step ada motif dia. Maths itu macam how to say? Macam sangat realistic or materialistic. Dia mesti ada satu tujuan, satu sebab punya, baru kita buat step itu. Dia tak boleh buat tanpa sebab, mesti ada motif dia. So in here, we break into 2 case in order to get rid of the modulus. So by right, the next line, you break into 2 case, no modulus. Case number 1, guys and girls, watch out. We're going to break out the modulus in the way that, observe carefully, guys and girls. We observe the modulus here into 2 parts. The part I highlighted in yellow and the part that I highlighted in blue. Kita tengok 2 package di sini. Okay. The one highlighted in yellow, just 1 modulus saja. The highlighted in blue, one of them maintain the same. The other one, you switch the sign. Like this first case here, I maintain greater masih greater, 2x masih 2x, positive 3 masih positive 3. But the next case there, you watch out, greater, switch sign, become less than. positive, switch become negative, positive, switch become negative. And what is the relationship between these two? Make sure you write down is the case of all. Greater is the case of all. And then next, solve each of the case separately. So the first case, I get x is less than equals to -8. The next case I get is x is less than equals to 2/3. And please, for inequality, jangan tulis rejected. Inequality tak ada rejected. Inequality, you nak check adakah jawapan mana satu, buat number line, bukan buat rejected. Okay. So in here, you draw the number line, and then by right is the case of all. This is the answer that you shade. Your answer, I will have x is less than equals to 2/3. In this question here, they just use the word solve. That means kalau you nak letak interval notation pun boleh. Tapi jawapan saya type sini ialah set notation. Kalau you want to put interval notation, the answer will be negative infinity until 2/3 close bracket. Ini jawapan pun boleh. Tapi jangan tunjukkan you hebat sangat dua-dua pun tulis. Nanti pemeriksa cemberu pada kamu, dia tak bagi markah atau tolak markah. So either one will do. For solve, either one will do. Jangan tulis dua-dua. Continue. The next one, 2b. Solve. So we have modulus 3 minus x minus 3 times modulus x equal to 0. So how to solve for this question here, guys and girls? You see that in this question here, we have two modulus. Kalau you remember two modulus, first thing, bukan pergi square both side. Cuba you tengok dulu. Adakah both of the modulus having the same content? So in this case here, you find out that the first modulus is 3 minus x, the other one is x. Content berbeza. Kalau content berbeza, next, formation. Before square both side, must have formation dulu. What is the formation? Each modulus should arrange on one side. So we must rearrange in this form here, each modulus on one side. If there is a constant in front of the modulus, make sure the constant is always positive. Mesti buat dia jadi positif. Kalau tak dapat buat dia jadi positif, something wrong with the question. Maybe tak ada solution. But sepatutnya boleh adjust sampai jadi positif. You move to left or move to the right, somehow boleh jadi positif like here. Then next, what you do, square both sides. Square both sides to get the answer. And watch out when the time you square both sides, make sure the number 3 outside there also you square it. This is the thing that often students miss out. They figure square both sides, the square is only to get rid of modulus, the square is just get rid of square root, but that's not true. Make sure you square the 3 outside modulus or the number outside square roots. As a result, expand accordingly. So in here, I just use shortcut. The summary of the shortcut is written at the side there. So I will have the expansions on 3 minus x here. I'm going to expand according to this formula that suppose it's already learned in your secondary level. That's why I can directly plug in the answer like this is accepted because it's prior knowledge. Kita apply prior knowledge. And as a result, further calculate, you have a quadratic equations. Once again, quadratic equation, make sure before you solve, before you factorize, if your x squared is negative, make sure you get rid of the negative. So in here, we multiply -1 on the whole equations. And then we factorize to get our answer. There is two answers here. One is x equals to 3/4. The other one is -3/2. So which one is the answer? How you decide, guys and girls? Tolong, jangan you jahat sangat tengok negatif saja you nak reject. So for this case here, if you see all the x term is inside modulus, tak payah check, dua-dua pun adalah jawapan dia. Tak payah check kiri, tak payah check kanan. Barat dua-dua pun jawapan. Of course, you want to check pun tak ada masalah. Tapi tak payah bazir masa untuk check. Kalau ada nilai x di luar modulus, yes, please kindly check the left hand side, right hand side. Salah satu perlu reject. But in this case here, all the x is inside modulus, barat you don't have to check. If your calculation is not wrong, both of them is the answer. Okay, continue. Okay. I think we managed to finish by 12:30 today. Okay. Boleh ya? Next, section B, question number 3, which is from chapter 1. Okay. We want to solve these these indices equations. So guys and girls, to solve this indices equation, let's see how we can solve for the questions here. First of all, we copy back the equations. Okay, before we go on further, maybe for indices equation, if you realize there is some patterns we can try to apply to solve the question, to observe. Not to say always work, but somehow it will give us some hint as a start. We can see some patterns there. So what is the pattern I want you to see is that, first of all, detect what is the indices term that you have. So in here, this is the indices term that I have. Okay. So we have more than 2 indices term, or we have a lot of term there. So suppose I cannot solve by basic case. That means tak boleh compare both sides atau insert log both sides to solve. If I suspect this is a case of quadratic, so what is the further info that help us to confirm this is the case of quadratic is that you try to observe the power. You try to observe the power of the indices. The base number is the same. Now we observe the power. So you observe the power. Is it possible that you have the power happen in the way that the x term, one is 2 times of another? That means contohnya, you see x, the other one is 2x, 2 times of the other. Or maybe you see 3x, 6x, one is 2 times of another. If yes, somehow we can suspect this is quadratic. And of course, if there is +3, +4 there, never mind. Later we split them out accordingly. So in this case here, I suspect it's a quadratic. So let me split out the +3 and +4 on the power. So the next time on my calculation here, I apply the rules of indices where I notice that if I have a to the power of m plus n, I can split m out become am multiply an. So therefore, I'm doing the splitting on this part here. I'm doing the splitting on this part here. For these 2 parts here. So I have power of 2x, power of 3. The other one is power of x, power of 4x. Sorry, power of 4. The rest of the part remain the same. Then next, what I want to do in my calculation here is that after I happen to split this out, let us try to simplify the constant I highlighted in orange here. And write the constant in front. And maybe at the same time, this one, if you would like to change the form, become 2 to the power 2 power x power of 2 also can. If you don't want to change also, never mind. You can remain f2 power of 2x also, never mind. But I write in this form here so that later, the next line, when the time I do substitutions, you can see everything very clearly. Where when the time I consider having y equals to 2 power of x. So all this part I underline in blue, I can replace by y as following. And now you see a quadratic equation in terms of y. So nothing much lah. You solve the quadratic equations accordingly. So this one I go quite fast lah, solving quadratic equations. And I should have my y answer as 1/8 or y equals to 4. Don't leave your answer in terms of y because we want to solve x. What is y? According to substitution just now, is actually equals to 2 power of x. So therefore, in here what you will see is that substitute this one to become 2 power of x. 1/8, I can relate with base number of 2 become 2 power of -3. Substitute y, 2 power of x. 4 is actually 2 power of 2. Then for each side here, I compare the power. I have x equals to -3. I have x equals to 2. So your answer, both of them is taken as the result. Again, don't simply reject negative answer. Reject must always have reason. You mesti tahu sebab kenapa we reject. In this case here, for indices, we don't reject. The one that we reject is, for example, if let's say your indices term turn out to become, let's say, -4. Okay, this one we reject because impossible for a positive number to be power become negative. Or maybe if I have it equal to 0 also, I reject because a positive number cannot power become 0. Go on. Next. 3b, solve the third equations here, the square root equations here. Copy back the first line of the equations and watch out carefully for the calculations. So in this case here, we have two different square roots. Two different square roots. How we're going to solve it is that first formation there. The formation must be, we have one square root on each side. Formation already there. So if formation already there, we square both sides. And please, by the time you square both sides, tolonglah jangan sampai hari ini you buat squaring both sides yang tak betul. Where you fikir squarekan square root jadi x tolak 2 dan tambah 4. Okay, ini square both sides yang tak betul. So how you supposed to do the square both sides here? Let's see. The right hand side here, of course, it just cancel off the square root. But the right hand side, watch out, probably we're going to expand using this formula. M plus n equals to m squared plus n squared plus 2mn. I want to put the two square together side by side because these are the terms that we will free from square root. Dua-dua term square ini tak akan ada square root. Ada square root punya saya leave in behind. I rearrange the order of this expansion compared to just now. Go on now. Observe this part here, compare with the formula that I'm going to apply here. We find out that actually the m is equal to the square roots, the n is equal to the 2, m squared, x minus 2, n squared is 4, 2mn is 2 times square root times 2, 4 square roots. As a result, I can just write my answer directly like this form. So this is the m squared and 2mn accordingly. Reach until here, you see there is still square root there. Now what you do is that rearrange the equation, simplify it so that square root on one side, the rest on the other. So I have 4 square root of x minus 2 equals to 2x minus 4. Okay. Reach up to here. To solve the case of one square root, formation is square root one side, the rest on the other. Then we square both sides. But before you are so excited to square both sides for one more time, I would like you to kindly check. Tolong semak sekejap untuk tengok. Do I have any way that I can cancel off this 4 here or reduce to a smaller number? Kalau boleh, terus bagi 4 hilangkan dia. Ataupun at least dari 4 kurang jadi 2, become a smaller number. So we try to check, is there any common factors of 4 on the right hand side? So 4, 2x minus 4. So common factor, I believe, is 2 only. So I will divide 2 on both sides. So I reduce the number here. So kenapa saya tak bagi dengan 4? Because again, kalau saya bagi 4, the right hand side keluar fraction, menjadi rumit. So in here, I just divide with 2. I reduce the number in front of the roots with 2. Is it compulsory to reduce the number? No. But if you make the expansion later, a smaller number. If possible, boleh hilang 4 teruslah. Syarat keluar fraction. Then square both sides. Square both sides of carefully. The answer here now become 4 times x minus 2, x minus 2 squared. Again, semak balik. When the time you square this part here, the 2 you need to square, the square root, get rid of the square roots. And you get the result as follows. For the right hand side, expansion according to this formula here. So we have the answer as simple as follow. Get the quadratic equations. Once again, for quadratic equations, if I have quadratic, the x squared is come with negative coefficient. I don't want the negative coefficients. We multiply with negative 1. So I will have x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Solve it. We got 2 answers. X equals to 2, x equals to 6. For square root equation, if you have more than one answer, please kindly do verification. Semak balik. How you semak? Refer back to the original equation, the left hand side and right hand side. So in here, the verification will be the left hand side of the equation, the original equation, square root of x minus 2 plus 2. The right hand side of the equation, square root of 3x minus 2. The x value that you find out, plug inside the left and right hand side and check. Do they give the same value on left and right? So when x equals to 2, sub to the left-hand side, I got 2. Sub to the right-hand side, also got 2. So therefore, x equal to 2 is a valid answer. Substitute 6 inside left, get 4. Substitute 6 inside, got 4 also on the right. So therefore, both of them is the answer. Jadi in this case here, dua-dua adalah jawapan. Because the left-hand side and the right-hand side have the same result by the time you substitute. There goes the answer. Finally, the last questions, section B, questions number 4. Solve the following log equations. Okay, guys and girls, I believe lots of you hate log so much. Actually, log tak berdosa. Jangan salahkan log sebab ketidakmampuan atau kebodohan kita. So, let us try to tackle this log here, how to solve the log here. Okay, first of all, this is ln, small letter l. Jangan sampai hari ini ada masih orang tulis sebagai in. It's not in, it's natural log ln. Okay, so how to solve these equations here? Okay, copy back the first line of the equation given in the questions. Okay. The way to solve log equations, again, for beginner, we try to observe one thing here first. What is the thing we want to observe is that, first, observe the log that you have. Do you have the same base number or not? If the base number is the same, then only we further think other things. If the base number is not the same, consider, do I need to change the base number to further solve? So if the base number is the same, if we check the left-hand side, we find out that we have log plus log, log plus log. So if log plus log, I suppose I can reduce the log to become 1 log. Of course, condition is in front of the log, we don't want to have any number. Kalau ada nombor di depan log, bawah jadi power dulu. So in this case here, in front of the log tak ada nombor, so I apply this rule here. If log A plus log B, if it equals to under 1 log, A multiply B. So therefore, I will have log 5, x plus 5, x plus 2. Okay. Continue. In the second line here, what you can see is that each side of the equation have 1 log. Satu log versus satu log. Log yang base sama. Dua-dua di depan log tak ada nombor. So what I do the next is that I compare both sides of the log. Ambil isi log saja. So I have bracket x plus 5, x plus 2 equals to 14x. Again, expand, I get the quadratic equations. I solve the quadratic equations. I get the answer x equals to 2, x equals to 5. So, got 2 answers. Which one is the correct answer? I believe most of you, or all of you, you nampak positif saja, guarantee itulah jawapan sebab positif. So, bukan fikir macam ini ya, itu fikiran tak betul. So, guys and girls, how you know to confirm whether this x value here, is it the answer or not? One of the way is that you can do like what you do in the case of surd. You can do like what you do in the surd case, where you consider the left-hand side, you consider the right-hand side, you substitute and then compare jawapan. Itu salah satu cara. Ada satu cara lagi yang lebih ringkas, is that you cuba semak, adakah nilai x ganda, whether your x value here fulfill the situation where all the part that I highlighted in yellow, which is the content inside the log. Kalau you substitute nilai yang ada itu masuk dalam kawasan yang saya highlight kuning ini, ada tak sentiasa akan dapat positif. Contohnya, you substitute 2 masuk sini, 2 tambah 5, 7 positif, 2 tambah 2, 4 positif, 2 darab 14, 28 positif. So yes, 2 adalah jawapan. Itu cara cepat untuk semak. But of course, yang paling accurate punya, you semak kiri kanan. Tapi macam ini. So by both of us, the answer in this. Last questions. Question 4b. Solve the following log equations. So we have 4 times log to the base x4 plus log to the base 4 square root of x equals to 3. So guys and girls, again, whenever you got log equation, for beginner, the first thing you check, the base number adakah sama ke tidak. Kalau sama, buat apa? Kalau tak sama, perlu buat apa. So you see base X, base 4. Biasanya kalau log base number dia tak sama, we make it the same. We change the base. Your option is change unknown to constant. Tukar X kepada base 4. Bukan the other way round. Because kita cuba tukar kepada benda yang lebih simple. Compare X dengan 4, 4 lebih simple. So, therefore, copy back the first equations. And then in here, I would like to consider change base. So this is the formula for reference for change base. I want to change base X to become base 4. So this part here, I would like to change base X to become base 4. Base X become base 4. And then at the same time, I want to do something else, which is the square roots here. I want to change to indices form, X power 1 over 2. So the next line, I'm going to do two things at once. But dua perkara pada masa yang sama. So as a result, what I have is that I change base, square root become X to the power 1 over 2. Next, what I want to do is that further apply the law of log that we know. The first one, if let's say the base of the log and the content of the log is the same numbers, it will equal to 1, which we will apply on this part here. Base 4, 4. So by right, this part highlighted in yellow become 1 later. Another thing I want to apply the law of log is that if let's say I have power like this, I can bring out the power multiplied with the log in front. And this is going to apply for the second log term set, the X to the power 1 over 2. For the part of X equals to 1 over 2, this part here. So as a result, the next line, this is what I have. Log 4 base 4 become 1. 1 multiply 4, I have 4. So observe lah penukaran di sini. 4 darab log base 4, 4 become 4. Power 1 over 2, bring out the power. So this is what I have so far. Then reach up to here, we proceed our calculations. By right, reach up to here is good enough for us to continue with substitutions already. Of course, you nak adjust lagi pun tak ada masalah, tapi tak ada keperluan lah. I want to go for substitutions. I let y equals to log x base 4. So this is the result of the substitutions. It looks much simpler. Then this case here, we can solve by multiplying y and also 2 on both sides. So guys and girls, the next line here, watch out. My solutions there, I'm doing multiply 2 and multiply y on each of the terms so that I can get rid of the fractions with denominator of y and also 2. So as a result, the first term 4 over y multiply 2y become 8. Y over 2 become y square. 3 become 6y. Of course, kalau you tak boleh terima, terus multiply 2y. Boleh you multiply y dulu, kemudian follow by multiply 2. It's the same result. So once again, you see quadratic. Okay, I sudah bosan dengan quadratic lah. Saya tekan dengan cepat lah. So y equals to 2, y equals to 4. So again, your final answer is not solving y. Y is our own assumption. We want to solve x according to the questions. So substitute the y accordingly. So we have log x base 4 equals to 2. So in here, watch out. We're going to apply this idea here from log equation change to indices equations. Watch out the patterns here I have. So guys and girls, watch out the pattern I have here. Okay, so what's the pattern I want you to observe here is that, so guys and girls, if let's say you have log x, the x maintain the same on the left hand side, the base of the log will become the base of the indices, the n will become the power. So as a result, the next line I will see, you will see that I will have the x maintained on the left hand side, the base 4 become base of the indices, the 2 become power, and then we have x equals to 16. Similar idea, log x base 4 equals to 4. So I will have x equals to 4 to power 4. Answer x equals to 256. Therefore, this is the answer that I have. And by right, I suppose I have finished discuss all the questions, right? Did I miss out any of them? Or do you have any problem with the questions? So, kalau tak ada, maka itu sajalah untuk today's lecture. Thanks for joining.